Phantasmagoria is a game I hold close to my heart, but a game whose absence ensures my heart stays fond to it. Brought to us by Sierra Online in 1995, and penned by the legend Roberta Williams herself, this game is one of the few that cemented my love of point-and-click horrors. From the moment I first turned the game on and the menu played this overpowering, Gregorian-sounding choral piece, I was hooked. It helps I happen to love this kind of music, of course, as it brings to mind the later released In Tenebris from Rhapsody of Fire's 2002 album, Power of the Dragonflame, possibly my favorite of their albums. But I'm getting sidetracked. Though it was the music that first caught my attention, the game kept me gripped immediately after. Initially feeling like a Stephen King kind of story, we begin with Don, a photographer, and his author wife Adrian, our main character, moving into an old Victorian-style mansion where she hopes to find inspiration for her new novel. This mansion she moves into, however, has a history, and a power more real than the fiction she intends to write. This mansion, the Karnovash Estate, once belonged to a famed magician and circus performer, Zoltan Karnovash. Karno was a 5 times married man, whose 5 wives all mysteriously disappeared. It doesn't take long living under this roof for Adrian to begin feeling an old evil creeping into her life and influencing her and her husband. From here, the story shifts into something more similar to the movie The Haunting. As the game progresses, Adrian will try to uncover the mysteries of the mansion. She begins her investigation with the townsfolk, but even at home she begins finding strange artifacts and hidden rooms, as the influence of evil slowly takes over her husband. In time, you realize the game is mostly a race against the clock, where you must uncover the source of evil in your home and put an end to it before Dawn is taken over by it completely and becomes murderous just like the house's former owner, Karnovash. Although this setup may seem basic in the world of cinema, when it comes to video games, not too much else really delves into this. The game became notorious at its release for what it presented as a rape scene that by today's standards you could easily air on television by 8 p.m, but also due to its use of disturbing content and gore. If you have a weak stomach, please click to this point here. Maybe this says nothing good about myself, but these disgusting scenes are honestly the highlight of the game for me, and what stuck out as the parts that were truly the most memorable and shocking. When I replay the game now, I often find myself looking forward to reliving these moments, but this is where I kind of run into my issues with replaying the game, and why it feels like this game's absence makes my heart stay fond to it. Every time I replay Phantasmagoria, I find myself looking forward to the grotesque and gruesome, creative and well-executed for the time death scenes, but these scenes are few and far between. It can feel like it's really hard to progress this game at times. You'll often not know what you need to do or where you need to go next, sometimes leaving progression up to nothing more than a guessing game. When you do know where you need to go and what you need to do, the general slowness can become a real source of frustration. Overall, the design of the world, the camera angles, and general navigation concepts simply didn't age too well, and it feels the more I revisit the game, the less patience I have for it, and the harder I find it to be to stick around, trying to get to the cool parts. Characters like these two, for instance, they just tend to annoy me now, and get in the way of what I think is a cool story and a cool adventure. And it's not a long game by any means. It sits just under 6 hours in total, but it certainly feels long when you know what to expect and you're just waiting to get to the parts you enjoy. The general slow and cumbersome nature makes it feel like an eternity is passing. When the game was new to me, and I didn't know what was going on and I didn't know what was going to happen, this wasn't an issue, as the world and atmosphere had me feeling tension the whole way. But on repeat playthroughs, it's really hard to recapture that sense of anxiety. I equate this to watching a movie like Inception. The first time you watch Inception, it can really grab your imagination, and you may find yourself really intrigued by everything going on. On a second watch, you realize the first hour of the movie is all setup, explaining to the viewer how the concepts of the film work. The actual film itself doesn't start until about halfway through. When you already know how the movie works, that first hour just isn't as fascinating to hear again. Had the game not been defined by its big shocking moments in my mind, and had a bunch of small interesting events sprinkled in between them, this may not have been as big of an issue. But really, this game is, in my mind, defined just by those big moments. Puzzles are mostly inventory based, and range from simple to a bit cumbersome. They're not the best, but I certainly prefer them to the moon logic many games were guilty of in this era. If you're stuck, you can ask for a hint, though many of these are like puzzles or riddles on their own. The game shows its age, of course, as resolution and sound quality are all pretty low. But if you've never played the game before and you have a soft spot for classic point and clicks like I do, definitely give it a go. My first time with this game was one of the coolest experiences I had in this genre, especially as a horror fan. Though I will warn you now, if you are playing the GOG or Steam versions through DOSBox, finish Chapter 7 as soon as you arrive there. Don't save and quit and reload, or this may happen to you. Oh no, I might not want to do this yet. Shit. Let me load my file. Okay, I will quit and load where I just saved. What the fuck just happened? What the fuck just happened? Can I start this and jump to fucking chapter 7? What the fuck is going on? Where did my file just go? What the fuck just happened? Oh, fuck's sakes. You're kidding me. I was like literally right at the fucking end of the game. Can I just load it up? Will it be there if I just start again? This game has a bug that can cause your save file to delete right at the end. Something I sadly had happen to me this time last year while I was live streaming the whole game start to finish in one go. People may look at this today and see it as a dated, goofy, or even hokey game, but for its time this was something out of this world, and its production was something to marvel over. Adapting Roberta Williams' 550-page script was no easy feat, and took no shortage of time and man-hours to do. The game originally had a budget of $800,000, but it far surpassed this. All the action was done with real recordings of real actors, performing in front of blue screens, to be later superimposed into the 3D environments and the over 1,000 different backgrounds created by the effects team. 25 actors were hired to play roles in this game. On top of this, we had the directors and set workers, a choir for the music consisting of over 100 people, and so on and so forth. Over 200 people worked on Phantasmagoria directly, a huge credits list for the time. Though filming was done in only 4 months, the game took over 2 years to complete. When all was said and done, the budget of the game had exceeded $4.5 million, with one expense alone, the custom-built set for filming, nearly doubling the initial budget. Due to the limited compression capabilities at the time, this game, which only runs about 5 to 6 hours in length, had to be released on 7 discs. Thankfully, despite the rising cost of the game over the course of its development, the game paid off, as it went on to make over $12 million its opening week, and closed the year as one of 1995's best-selling games. Though Phantasmagoria has its own faults, and I complained about them probably more than I sung the praises of this game, it was miles ahead of its time, and was a feat that most other studios simply could not pull off. There's not too many games out there like this, and most that would try something similar could not hit the scope of this one, or harness the writing styles unique to Roberta Williams. Though it may seem cheesy and dated to many people, I do highly recommend giving this game a shot. It's worth, at the very least, a single playthrough. Even though I struggle with this game on repeat playthroughs, that first one was simply magical. Chances are, your first playthrough will be a playthrough you'll never forget. And that's all I'm gonna say on Phantasmagoria. If you guys liked this video, if you found it useful, entertaining, or interesting at all, you know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video if you can. If you really like the content and want to get stuff early, consider supporting the Patreon. Links to socials are in the description, and as always folks, thanks for watching.